Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? I hope things in your world are not nearly as cold as they are here. It's actually not that cold today, but I am freezing. I could not get warm today, no matter what I did. So hopefully I'm not getting sick. So as you know, I started the new job today, and it's been going well for the most part, as well as any week one on the job can be. And I haven't really told you a whole lot about it because there's not really a whole lot to tell. It's standard, like day one is filling out your employee paperwork, and making sure you've met everybody that you need to meet, finding out where the bathroom and the coffee is, that sort of stuff. Day two is introducing me to all of the various things that the company does and how we go about doing that. Day three is figuring out what my personal projects are going to be and getting assigned those things from my manager. And then today was day four, which is like, okay, maybe I can actually try to contribute something to this team. That's what I was hoping to do today. And it's been a mess. You know, here's the thing. You would think that a guy who has done IT for the last 8 years, taking a career pivot, it's not really a career change, more of a career pivot. I'm doing software development now, which is not foreign to me at all. I've written tons of software in my life. I have applications that are currently being used around the world. You think that me, the guy who's done IT, who knows the inner workings of the operating systems and the machines, I could get a simple testing environment set up for my code. Okay, to give you the non-techie version of what I'm about to say, I'm going to attempt to explain this for you, that for those of you who aren't programmers. When you're writing software, there are always going to be at least 3 places where that software exists. That's like minimum, if you're doing things the correct way. So I have the software that's on my machine here. Let's see if we can, like, will these stand up? They might. That'd be fancy. I could have little, like, yeah, buddies. I don't think that's big enough. Okay. Here's the software that's on my machine. Okay. And if I write on this, say I turn this index card over and I write on it, that's the only place that writing exists. Okay. This is the software that is on the internet. So if you go to the internet and you look at my software, you're going to find this. Okay. So software on my machine has writing on the back of it that software on the internet doesn't have. And then there's this. This is software that's sitting up here in a place called a repository, right? This software is kind of a hybrid. What I mean by that is, if I make a change here and I want it to show up here, the first thing I do is put it here. So I go, hey, take the stuff I wrote here and put it up here. And this thing does magic. If it knows the differences between these two things, and it can say I deleted stuff on here, it knows to delete it up here and then copy it up. And so this is kind of the master, right? And then once it's up here, I tell it to come down here. Once it's up here, hopefully it's tested and we know that it works, and then I can say come down here, and then you can see it on the internet. That's the correct way to do things. That's not how Chevy does things. You know, I'm a self-taught hack. I've always been like a single coder, so I've never had to deal with, you know, the benefit of having this up here is if I'm working on this copy and you have your own copy that you're working on, then when either of us make changes, it comes to this common place. This common place can go, ooh, your changes conflict and this is why. And if we have any issues, we can fix it before it comes here. So that way, if you do something crazy and you just put it over here, it doesn't completely screw up everything I've done. That's what this exists for. It also, it has more purposes, but for the basics. The problem is, let's say I type out a bunch of stuff and I make an error. I forget to put a comma in or whatever, a simple little error. In order for me to catch that I've done a simple little error and then correct that simple little error, I have to fix the error on my machine. I have to tell my machine, commit that error, which means, or commit that fix, which means that's now the gold standard. Once I've done that, then I tell that to go here. And then once it's here, I have to go over to here and say, hey, get that. And then once I've got it here, then I can check to see if that error is fixed. Okay, there's more layers in between that. There's actually this would actually be a testing thing. Well, the problem is that's a lot of steps just to fix a single character or whatever. Say I make a change to a color and I don't like it and I want to revert it. Well, now I have to go through, I have to go on my machine, say, hey, get all this stuff, put it up there. Once it's up here, I have to log into this machine, say, hey, grab all the stuff that's up there, and then I can refresh my, no. So what we do is we have what's called a virtual machine. And a virtual machine takes this guy and it makes a copy of it and it kind of puts it inside of this, right? So when I make a change here, I immediately get to see it. I don't have to like put it anywhere, commit it somewhere. Nobody has to look at it. I just get to see the changes. And that has given me so much headache this week. We are using a framework called Laravel, and Laravel has this wonderful little Vagrant, which is just a way of managing VMs. Homestead is Laravel's wonderful little package, and the idea is all I have to do is launch this one command and it automatically installs Laravel and PHP and MySQL, all the fancy little things that I need to make the web page work inside of this little virtual box, and that allows me to test things like immediately. I don't have to make commits and all the other stuff. And then once it works in my little test box, then I can do the hard part, put it up here, put it there. Then I can put it on the actual test box, and then we can test on the actual test box. And if it works there, then we can push it out to the actual web server. It's a pain, and I could not get it to work. I mean, it's not a pain. The idea is that Homestead Vagrant makes it not a pain at all. But it was such a pain to get it to work. What happened, I had it up and running, and I accidentally killed the power to my desk, which shut down the box, and that apparently causes all kinds of problems with Laravel and Homestead. And I had to uninstall it and reinstall it multiple times to get it to work again, and I finally got it up and running today, and I changed the very first line of code. And I tell you what, it's going to be a long, long learning process. I'm completely new to Laravel. I don't know anything about it other than it's organized in a somewhat interesting manner. But you know, this is part of the reason I was really excited about having the job. Part of the reason is learning how to code properly. You know, I've spent my entire life teaching myself how to code incorrectly, and I've never had a mentor. I've never had a teammate who could understand when I ask questions like, hey, how does this work? Now that I have all that at my disposal, I'm like really pumped to learn correctly. So I'm going to attempt that. But this week's been trying. So now it's just a matter of me learning the framework, and this software that I got handed it's in a pretty rough state, and I have to fix it. So I like fixing though, and that's what I'm going to be doing for a little while. We'll see what happens. But hopefully that wasn't super confusing. It probably was. I'm sorry. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments, and I'll attempt to answer them in a less confusing manner. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being my friends. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from Scholastic.com. What insect has the longest lifespan? A queen termite has been known to live 50 years. And there are, of course, the 17-year locusts. 50 years for an insect. I thought they all lived like days.